Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to do a Rashi from the fifth Aliyah on this Thursday afternoon, Parshas Vaera. We're going to talk a little bit about the plague of lice, the plague of kinim, because a few things, important things, happened during this plague. First, just two short Rashis today, but I think they'll be insightful ones. Number one, Rashi over here, after the plague of frogs is over. Vayar paroki haita harvacha v'achberet libo lo shamalem kasher diber Hashem. The frogs are gone. He doesn't have any movement in terms of releasing the Jewish people, and therefore Hashem says to them to bring the next makkah. Vayomer Hashem Moshe emor al Aaron eter matcha v'hach et afar haaretz vayal lekinim b'chol eretz Mitzrayim. He says to Moshe to tell Aaron to hit the ground with his staff and have the ground turn and be filled with kinim, with lice. So this is one of the famous Rashis, quoting the Mamre Chazal, about Hakara Satov to inanimate objects. This is not the first time it comes up in our Parsha, but one of many. Amor al Aaron lo ha'afar kedai l'kot ayidei Moshe. Why does Hashem say to Moshe to say to Aaron to perform this makkah? Moshe himself could have performed it. So here it seems specifically like Aaron has to be the one to perform this makkah, and that is because the afar, the ground, the dirt of the ground, is not worthy of being smitten, or if that's the correct word or conjugation, but it's not worthy of being afflicted by Moshe Rabbeinu. Lefi shehigen alav k'sheharagas hamitzri yatmineu b'chol v'lak al yedei Aaron. Because the ground did something to protect Moshe Rabbeinu. When he killed the Mitzri in last week's Parsha, was fighting with the Ivri. It says, Vayatmineu b'chol, he hid him, he buried him in the chol, in the ground, in the dirt of the earth. And because he was covered over there in the earth, then Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't attacked by other Mitzrim, or wasn't questioned by other Mitzrim in terms of what had happened over there. He was able to sort of keep it a little bit of a secret, although we see in the next incident the people knew about it, but that's a whole separate question, Shir, in last week's Parsha. But for the moment, we see that the ground helped Moshe Rabbeinu to some degree, and therefore he couldn't be the one to cause harm to the ground because of that reciprocity of Hakara Satov. The ground did something for him, and as a measure of recognizing what the ground did and showing his gratitude for it, he couldn't be the one to cause harm to the ground in this instance. So again, not the first time it's happened. It's a fascinating concept. What does it mean to have Hakara Satov, gratitude to inanimate objects? What's the purpose of that? That's a whole shir in and of itself, but important to notice it here, at least in this context. Number one, to notice the textual issue over here, that it's not just to Moshe, but Moshe to tell Aaron to do the actual performance of this makkah. And secondly, a little bit of the philosophy behind it. But let's get to the next piece over here of the story of the kinim. And that's when we see everything devolve after the kinim arrive. The Chartumim see what's going on over here. For the first time, the Chartumim are not able to remove the kinim. It's everywhere. It's not just on the land. Now it's in the animals. It's in the humans. And the Chartumim, Paro sorcerers and magicians, they can do nothing about it. They can't remove it. And then they react and tell Paro something, which shows a level of escalation here in terms of the plagues. The Chartumim say, Paro, this is the finger of God. But Paro hardens his heart, and he doesn't listen to them. He doesn't listen to the Chartumim, doesn't listen to anybody. What are the Chartumim really saying to Paro? Etzba Elokim hi, ma kazo eina al yedei kshafim. They came to some realization here. The fact that they couldn't reverse this plague, they couldn't replicate this plague, they had nothing to do with this plague, indicates to them that this is a level above sorcery. It's a level above magic. It's a level above their capabilities. And the only thing this could be coming from is the God of the Hebrews, who Moshe and Aaron had been speaking about all this time. It's Me'es Elokim. It's Elokim. It's the finger of God, and therefore it's beyond our power and capacity. That represents a change. Up till now, Paro and the Chartumim were obstinate, dumb, Tzvardea. They believe that this is a nothing, this could be taken care of, this will pass, it's not so difficult, it's not so dangerous, it's not so damaging, and we can replicate some of it, we can remove some of it. We may not fully be able to take care of it, but it's within our wheelhouse in some way, and therefore it's not beyond us. But the lice is an escalation in the level of Makos, where at least the Chartumim realize what's going on here and realize that this comes from God. So Paro's still not there yet. Paro's still obstinate. Paro's still refusing to listen to them or to anybody else, failing to recognize that this is really from Hashem, who's a higher power. Paro only starts to realize it in the next Makkah. So once you get past down Svardei Akinim, once you get to Arov, once you get to the wild beasts, then even Paro tries to back down and say he's going to release the Jewish people. Of course, then it reverses. His heart is hardened, but at least he has the consideration that he might want to let them go because of that escalation. So the next plague of Arov is even more severe in the escalation, but already here you see a change. It's a marked difference from the first two plagues to this one. Why they say Etzba Elokim is a very interesting thing here as well. Rashi doesn't address that directly. Why they say this is the finger of God, not the hand of God. You look in the Haggadah, there's a whole passage of mathematics, Machlokas Tanaim, about how to read how many makos and the severity of the makos, and they compare the fact that in Mitzrayim it says Etzba Elokim, the plagues were an Etzba, representative of the finger of God, and on Yam Suf, the way that the Egyptians were punished was with the Yad. The Psukim say this is the hand of God. So if you compare the ratio of finger to hand, it's 1 to 5. And so if there were 10 makos in Egypt, which represents 1, so now if there are 50 makos on the sea, and then they have psukim, and they have different ways to darshan it out, it's a whole mathematical equation. From the Chazal, you see maybe one interpretation of Etzba, which is the Chartumim saying, hey, this is just the beginning. This is just the finger. If this is what the finger of God is capable of, and we're not capable of counteracting it, then Kal V'chomer, all the more so what's going to happen when it's the hand of God that comes to smite us. I think the Ramban, other Mefarshim, if I remember correctly, say it in the other direction, that the Chartumim were changing their mind over here. They were saying this is maybe from God, maybe something beyond our reach, but they were still a little bit dismissive of it. They're saying, it's like an etzba, it's a nothing, It's God touching us a little bit with his finger. This is a nothing, this too will pass. So they were sort of hedging their bets. They're saying this is beyond us, it's from God, but this God will also pass. He can't really touch us. He's just touching us like a finger tap, right? He can't really hurt us. So it cuts both ways. You could read Etzba one way or read Etzba the other way, but either way, there's some realization, recognition here by the Chartumim that something different about this Makkah, and that's only going to intensify as things go forward. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope you have a great day.
You too, Rabbi. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye.